50 hours a week, people, that was spent of your money inappropriately.
I'll be coming for your seat.
Even though I'm back at peaceful headquarters, there's a lot of things still going on in Otter Creek. We're still in the midst of this biggest, longest, probably most epic council meeting ever in the history of Otter Creek. Let me get you up to speed of what's happened so far. The old mayor, Russ the Sus, hasn't made it easy for the new mayor. He hasn't signed over any of the accounts. He hasn't answered phone calls. He hasn't answered emails. Mary's not answering anything. This has been one huge cluster. And they're in the middle of a lawsuit. And Don the Con thinks that somehow, some way, Russ the Sus isn't corrupt? No. Our mayor just shared with us that not only is Russ the Sus corrupt, so is Mary. Jail's gonna be scary. And what we've learned, the Attorney General is coming after Russ the Sus, Mary, jail is scary, and also former Mayor Laura Mott. And we don't know when this time frame is gonna happen, but we know they're on the trail and they're looking to prosecute. And she shared corruption is not just an ounce, it's boxes full. And now it's time for the people of Otter Creek to respond. I'm here for the town hall meeting in Otter Creek.
Definition of corruption is dishonest and fraudulent behavior. There's not just an ounce of it here, there's boxes full of it.
And 6,000 emails in there they're talking about it.
The next, or the last thing for the new business before we move on to other things is the online calendar of events / website. We need to create a website for the town that also has an online calendar. That way people can go online and look to see what's going on, get in touch, leave comments, come into this century.
You know you love our mayor. Come into this century. How can it be 2023 and a town, even if it's a town of 100, how can a town not have a website yet? People often say, Jeremy, why didn't you pay your water bill online? There is no way. They go, Jeremy, why in the world are you paying with a check? I haven't written a check in 10, 15 years. That's the only way to pay, unless I'm going to send cash in the mail. And even then, I would never, ever trust Mary or Russ the Sus or anybody with cash. You have to have some kind of legal document. And we're finally going to get a website. Boy, and a calendar of events? You mean that $500 that Russell took that was for the Christmas party for the town, for the kids, is finally coming back? We're not going to use it for witch hunts anymore? We're not going to use it for personal vendettas? We're not going to use it to ostracize and target different individuals of the town? We're going to use it for the people. And we're getting a website, guys. This is going to be amazing. Who knows? Otter Creek may get its own YouTube channel. Lots of towns do it.
That will be worked on, and whatever we figure with how much that's gonna cost, we can present that at the next meeting for a vote, but we'll get it all together.
Will people be able to pay their water bills?
That's something we're definitely gonna be looking into. Also, on the water bills, I do wanna start including a breakdown, which I do believe should have always been there. So in the future, that breakdown will be there. People will be charged the correct amount, commercial or residential, not based on a size of a pipe.
You requested a 2-inch meter.
No, it got changed.
Your plumber called me personally.
This is just music to my ears. Our current mayor, our new mayor, who Don says, you have no government experience, how did you get the mayor position, is doing things like a real, true mayor should. Who cares about experience? She's got the skills to pay the bills. And I mean that. Look at this. Already they're changing my bills. Remember when I was illegally being charged as a commercial property at my ranch? Was this zoned residential? They're already working on changing that in the system. They've attempted to. They've already reached out to me. They're going to. The system is glitching, whatever Mary did to it, but they're correcting it. I will be charged based on a residential rate. And you heard what she said. Hey, you know what? No more based on your pipe size. Yeah, were they targeting me? Absolutely. There's no doubt whatsoever. But they're going to do it based on the volume, how much water you actually buy. That makes all the sense in the world. My next lawsuit against the town was going to be based on the illegal resolution that targeted me specifically for the prices of water, and the illegal charging, and the illegal late fees, the disconnection notices, the illegal refusing to break down all of my bills for me. And the list just goes on and on and on. But now that the Attorney General is getting involved and going after Russ the Sus, Mary, Laura Mott, I don't think I'm going to have to go that route. It sounds like the Attorney General is going to do everything that I need to have done anyway. And this new mayor is correcting everything.
But the way it was supposed to be done was commercial and residential. So
And permits too, permits as well. You can apply for a permit to build a fence or that way, online or?
we will have guided growth in this town going forward. So we are not blocking people from doing things. We are gonna get together and do them the correct way. And when things are implemented, when we get together with the county and change things, the ordinance will go and it's all gonna be legal. But yeah, we're not knocking anybody down from doing what they should be doing. You don't pick and choose and play games with people.
Amen.
You know what I hear from our mayor? No bigotry, no prejudice. There is no sides. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not the outsiders, which I've been labeled as, or an insider, which, by the way, she's born and raised, she's a true Floridian. She treats people equally. She treats people fairly. She treats people legally. Guided growth. In other words, we want to help you to grow, to be better, to do more. This is an incredible opportunity in Otter Creek's history. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking maybe we need somebody to come in and set up a bronze statue of Mayor Granger.
One last thing,
Long before you came here,
huh?
we had water, we had pumps, we had everything. But mysteriously, in the first 5 years that I lived here, the pumps disappeared.
This is Bob. You may not recognize him. He cut his beard, he cut his hair. This is actually the old veteran that told me I don't belong. And his deceased wife, Clea, was great for the town. She was about the people, she was about cleaning it up, she was about doing good things. And he's about to share a little bit more history with us. By the way, Bob may have said I don't belong here in Otter Creek, but he's also one of our biggest fans in Otter Creek.
Nobody ever found them. That's weird. They were never replaced. I'm still operating with one meter. The other one went to town or someplace, they took it out. Needless to say who was the water man at that time, plus his buddy, who's back on the job. All right? The pumps disappeared. Where are they, you tell me? In the back of the fire engine that disappeared. And where's the fire engine? Along with the pickup truck that was brand new, paid for, in that garage, disappeared.
You mean the one
County
that's over
all,
there?
It's about to get a little tense. Our mayor just said, you mean the one that's over there, pointing at Don? Because everybody in the town knows that Don has the fire truck. He only paid $500 for it. How? Well, his wife was the clerk. Is there insider information on a sealed bid? I don't know how it all worked. $500? That's it? Everybody knows Don has the truck. Make sure you're watching Don's face.
all you guys right, exactly. They all voted to let it go.
Oh, the fire truck.
Yeah,
There wasn't a vote.
and there was nothing wrong with it, brand new.
Made up a price.
What's in the garage right now?
Huh?
What is in the garage right now?
What, was it back?
Right here. I'm asking you.
There's a non-bearing wall behind all of us that books are against. And if you go back behind it, there is a door. They call that the garage. Now, I've been back there once. What I saw was 50 plus boxes of papers and files, probably completely and totally disorganized. Remember, we had 3 clerks working 60 hours a week, doing nothing. Literally nothing. I mean, how could they have been? It's a mess back there. There's an old refrigerator. I've seen an old freezer. it's indicative of Mary's office.
There's nothing in the garage.
We had a brush truck, where's the brush truck?
Huh?
Right, well, there's one in a yard around the corner with really tall grass.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Well, that one doesn't belong to the,
The fire engine, where did it go?
Oh, Don the Con. That one doesn't belong to the town. No kidding. You got it for $500. Way, way, way undervalued. I mean, a man after my own heart. You get a value. Why would you just sit it in a bunch of tall grass along with a school bus and a whole bunch of other garbage? It's not like you got an auto shop there. It just looks like a hoarding nightmare. It's got to be unsafe. It's definitely unclean. Don's getting a little frustrated here. All eyes are on him and his tall grass and a fire truck.
which one is?
Okay.
The big beautiful one we had at work.
They auctioned it.
The white one?
Huh?
That white pickup truck?
No, I'm talking about the fire engine now.
Oh, the red
We
one
had a
in
big
Don's
beautiful
yard?
red one.
Oh, that's his
Beautiful.
yard.
The
And
one
it
in Don's
worked.
yard? Is that the one he's talking about?
No, that was before our time.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're getting way off point, so let's get back
Yeah,
in
there's
here.
two of them.
All right, now we're gonna talk about the Catholic Charities. I just wanted to let you know they dropped off food. So anybody who needs any food, see me after the meeting and we can give that out. And the next month they'll be here July 10th at noon.
I've inquired who gets this food in the past, and I know they stamp it on the bottom of the water bills. And what I've been told is Mary just picks and chooses who she wants to give it to, which pretty much makes sense the way the whole town was being ran, even though she told me everybody should be treated the same. And there's 6,000 emails thus far of all the corruption, of all the illegal activity, of all the proof that they absolutely were not treating everyone the same.
We announced at the beginning of the meeting, some of you didn't hear it, about the open comments. Put on the card, you have a comment for public comment. We only have one in here. Once we start, the boxes to be done. You can't put one in after we start public comment.
He took it.
If you want to do public comment, yes, grab a card right here, put your name on it. I'm only mentioning it now, so you can, who wants it in there.
My goodness, the public has questions.
The only comment card they have so far is mine. I got there an hour early. By the way, I love being home. This is what Otter Creek was supposed to be for me. Rest and relaxation, out in the woods, away from the world, one with nature, not one fighting corruption, psychotic neighbors, just evil doing of others. This is what life was supposed to be like in Otter Creek, and I have a great hope it will be someday. You're going to get to hear from Albert Fuller. His position was just terminated. You're going to get to hear and find out exactly how many hours a week that town clerk job is. There's a lot that's going to be said by the townspeople.
Will the town hall be open to the public now?
Right now, we posted it,
Anybody else?
Wednesday, Friday,
Okay.
10 to 2.
Okay.
I want to see another beautiful picture of corruption. Look at the road out there.
Charlie.
The blacktop is all the way around, and it's always placed. And on both sides of the road, there's about that much that wasn't covered with.
Yeah. That's the
All the way through. Huh?
We gotta get some healthy water in you before we start fixing roads.
I'll do that this
I
one.
mean, the roads are just dog beds right now.
Yeah. All these little things nobody.
It's safe to say that the public is backing Therese. They love their new mayor. They love the transparency that she promised and delivered. How rare is that to happen in life? Promised and delivered. They're backing her. Not 100%, 110%.
Mr. Worm, did you have anything you'd like to say before we hit public comments?
So much corruption is unbelievable. Nobody, every time I said something, it threw me out. One night they had a
You broke up,
show.
so we can hear you.
think that there's a plan to get
I know the audio is hard to hear, but basically what Attorney Worm is saying is that this transparency is good. Moving forward is good. I'm just curious if he's going to feel that same way when we find emails that might incriminate him. I mean, all of this was happening, and we're being told, you're going to hear me ask later, that he was in communication with them all about it happening. Is that going to be okay with him? And by the way, what's okay with me, one of my buddies, Limb Walkers, they're going to donate a new system for sound for the town of Otter Creek. We won't have any sound issues again at the next meeting. I know you're thrilled, so am I.
It's good, yes.
Yeah.
I love to
Very
say
good,
it.
very good.
That means we turn the attorney over to it?
No, he's doing it.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to give everybody a chance to.
Oh, yeah.
Before you finish that.
We're fine. Oh, no, that was done, just that they'll be here July 10th at noon. I probably set it up for July.
We'll make sure it's up, it's not out there, we'll make sure it's up on the board so everybody will know.
I can never really pinpoint who Don reminds me of. I'm looking at him right there in that shot, and I'm going, that's the Penguin from Batman.
Does anybody here aware of how people are they signing up for the food drops, or we notify them, or is anybody aware of how that was working before?
They make a public notice and then it's, people act on it.
Okay. On the bulletin boards?
So we'll just put it publicly out there, we'll put it there.
And sometimes I've heard people call, some people
Okay.
that thought that,
And if there is anybody that usually receives that, please get in touch with us, because once again, we weren't left with any notice of how that works, and
Or if they know somebody who does,
Right.
let them know.
So,
they can contact you.
communicate with us. We invite your communication.
1 week. She's been in the mayorship for 1 week, and nothing was left behind explaining. Nobody was helpful. 1 week, she's accomplished all this. I got to tell you, I'm extremely proud, very, very proud of Therese, of Deanna, of Belinda, and all others who have helped and joined in. This is incredible what they've been able to accomplish, and I truly believe this as I say this. I believe they've gotten done more in 1 week than has actually gotten done in the past 3 years as I've lived in Otter Creek.
websites and some of that. I don't, I'm not aware.
Well, I just want to make sure that the people got to do their due duty.
Well, certainly, so make it a public notice and they'll come.
This is anybody getting left out.
Are we good to proceed? It's like picking winners.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, so there's 5 in here. Nobody else have any comments that they might want to add before we get started?
Here we go. Public comment time. Hold on tight. Get the popcorn. Take a bathroom break. Do whatever you need to do, because this is about to get lit.
All right.
Remember, it's 3 minutes, everybody, okay? Let's try to keep it to that. We're not going to say stop.
I'm not,
Just try to
I don't have a
maintain
timer.
yourselves.
Just be,
Well, we just ask you to try to maintain yourselves, okay?
be polite.
If it gets too far away, we may have to ask you to come back next week.
Okay, so we have, on planning and zoning, Albert Fuller.
You're about to hear from probably the most educated man in the room. You might be thinking, Jeremy, don't you have undergrad, master's degrees, all of that stuff? Yeah, I do. And I think he can blow me out of the water. This is a man with a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and experience. And he was illegally hired by Russell, used as a tool and a weapon against the people. and his job was just terminated unexpectedly by the new mayor. Let's see what he has to say.
Do I need to come up or can I speak from here? What I'd like to say is that I'd like to clear up what happened with planning and zoning. It was something that I never intended to do or wanted to do, but I was asked to do it, and I did it as a matter of clarification for the things that the land development regulations said. I was asked to do it, and I made every assignment according to what I was asked to do. In terms of the $50 an hour, I'm sorry, but that's the least that I have ever been paid. And so,
I've seen some of your work, and you're very knowledgeable.
Yeah, I don't mean to insult you
and
whatsoever.
it's not necessarily an insult at all. I just wanted to clear the record is that I did what I was asked to do. And
I didn't mean anything against you. I think you're a lovely man.
there's
You're
not-
very knowledgeable.
And that's not, and honestly, I'm not insulted by it.
Okay.
Because sometimes it was an imposition on me in order to take my time to do those things when I have a lot of other things that I do, both international consulting and the like. So it's something that I did because I was asked to do it and I thought it was a temporary assignment. The council did vote on it and it was approved. As to whether I had an agenda, I have no agenda whatsoever in terms of this town. But when I was asked to interpret a land development regulation, I did it according to an application. And as I always said, I need an application so I have something to work with. And I would just suggest that the town in the future have the same process, which is an application process, in order for a planning and zoning official to look at it. But now, I think the town is in need of a little bit more than just a part-time planning and zoning official. You need somebody to contract with to be able, if the county chooses not to continue their inspection process, then I think you all need to get a firm to do that. It's certainly not me, and it's certainly not anything that I would even like to do, because my schedule is far too busy to take something like that on. So in terms of targeting, I have no intent to target people. I have no agenda. I'm just interpreting regulations based on that large land development regulation booklet. And so I gladly accept the determination.
I absolutely appreciate you, and I never thought you were particularly doing anything wrong.
Thank you for
And I appreciate your
everything you
knowledge,
have
and I
done.
agree we need to revisit that subject to do things differently in the future.
And
Sure thing.
Clerk in the office backs up the fact that you were assigned to these things. You weren't, you
Yes.
didn't bring them
Yeah.
to them. They, in their messages and their emails back and forth, shows they definitely were using you to pursue their agenda.
Can we clarify who they are? Who was using Mr.
At
Fuller?
this moment, I don't know the names of their emails.
Okay.
Mary and Russell Meeks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Thank you.
Go,
Yeah.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hopefully, one day soon, we'll be able to utilize Mr. Fuller's expertise and talents again and pay him what he's actually worth as the town continues to grow appropriately in the right way, doing the right things. Heads up, this next guy with a public comment, he's got some questions, and you're about to hear the answers. He's kind of a pain. He was threatened to be kicked out before, but 3 officers wouldn't remove him.
Jeremy Hill. Question for council.
No comments, just questions. I promise not to try and take up too much time. I do have some questions though. So number one, I want to share my deep appreciation of the new mayor, Madam Mayor Therese. You are doing a fantastic job. I've seen more accomplished tonight than I've seen in the past 3 years I've lived here. Thank you. Deanna, Belinda, my goodness, what you've done with the office is incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I do have a few questions. Belinda specifically, may I ask a question of Belinda as a volunteer?
Yeah, I'm
No,
fine with it.
remember?
One
only
question.
volunteer.
You're only a volunteer,
I'm
but
only a volunteer.
I have this question because I have a problem with corruption, and I have a problem when people are taking money and misusing it. And this is the town's money, and I know the town doesn't have a lot of money, and I have a problem with that when I see 60 hours a week in a part-time position in a town of 100 people, money going out. That's your money. It's my money. You're a professional. In your professional opinion, how many hours a week is that position?
Less than 10.
Less than 10 hours a week. And
Go in and you know what you're doing, it's less than 10.
that's 50 hours a week, people, that was spent of your money inappropriately. All right, thank you. Thank you for the answer.
Less than 10 hours a week. Maybe more when you got to put out water bills. Less than 10 hours a week. $4,000 a month. 60 hours a week. 3 people. One of them illegally hired. You believe there's some corruption going on?
The bills and the paper. I've got a few other questions. Madam Mayor, in your personal opinion, what you've seen so far, can you put a dollar amount on how much inappropriate spending you've seen and you've uncovered thus far?
I can't even put that yet.
Are we talking hundreds? We talking thousands, tens of thousands? If you were to, at this point, if you were to guess.
I would have to say thousands.
This is way beyond public comment at this point.
Huh? Well, I wouldn't know an amount to give. I've never seen any money. I'm just making my opinion.
All right.
My opinion is that it's more than hundreds.
All right, thank you. So thousands.
I haven't seen any of these incriminating emails yet, but I trust my mayor. And I can do a records request, but I'm not going to right now because these gals have enough cleanup mess that was left behind with no help. None. And so I don't want to be an extra burden to them. You're learning all this information the same way I am, through transparency in a public town hall meeting. And there will be a time where I show you the emails, but that's not right now. There's more important things to cover.
As I'm viewing all this tonight, I do not see Russell Meeks Sr. here. I'm hearing that you can't even get into the accounts. He had a meeting where a motion was made to pay the bills. I'm hearing bills haven't even been paid. I'm concerned that the water is going to be turned off for the people because the electric bill hasn't been paid. In my opinion, it looks as if Russell Meeks is actually intentionally sabotaging your mayorship and the town as a whole. Would that be an appropriate assumption? I'm not talking to you, Don. I'm talking to her. He is corrupt. Okay? So is that an appropriate assumption that Russell Meeks Sr. is actually intentionally sabotaging your mayorship, the new leadership, and the town as a whole?
That's not my opinion.
And the water.
That's how I personally feel, that I've been set up for failure and that there's no help, but I'm used to cleaning up messes. I've been doing it my whole life, so this is the perfect job for me.
You've done a fantastic job in here. One more question. I don't think my 3 minutes are up yet. Don seems to be taking time for the first time, but as you're seeing all this and you're talking about all this that you're finding in emails, I heard 6,000 emails. Is the attorney part of this?
A part of the.
Is the attorney Warm part of all of this that's going on?
He's been in communication with the clerk.
That's my last question. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Therese. Thank you, counsel. Thank you.
You're about to hear Don say, is that an accusation? No, that would be a question. Then I received an answer that actually pointed to the truth that Attorney Warm has been in conversation with Mary DeGroot, the town clerk, about all of this. Now, do I want to accuse? Yeah, he's corrupt. By the way, Don, you're corrupt. You're all part of it. You know you're part of it. You're trying to hide it. And I don't need to come in and accuse you. The Attorney General's gonna come in and do that, and probably jail you.
Was that an accusation?
Don't answer.
He is corrupt.
We have,
Stop. He asked her a question. There was no accusation.
Okay, we're moving on to the next person.
Carl Hughes, it doesn't have any questions.
I have multiple things.
Okay,
Congratulations on being elected mayor.
thank you.
Zim, I want to say, I've said some negative things about you in the past, and if you would, I would like to shake your hand.
How great is this? Our new leadership team is already bringing healing to the people, to the town, to the Otter Creek. I love it. And wait till you hear what Carl has to say to Don.
I have some things to say to Russell, which is what it is. But, Don, I have something to ask you. When is your term up? It's, what, about 10 months?
Public knowledge.
Okay. I'm just asking in particular, your term's up in about 9-10 months?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll be coming for your seat.
How good is this? Other towns members are standing up. They're not going to stand for the corruption anymore. Carl straight up tells Don, I'm coming for your seat. And Carl, I got a real good suspicion you probably will win it.
Great.
For the board, I'd like to ask, what would y'all, there's dogs running around loose. They're just running around attacking people. They're running up to people's property, attacking other people's animals, stuff like that. What is y'all's thing with that?
I'm going to show you a couple dogs that actually chased me the next day. Oh, by the way, Don's dog, #1 offender, Don Severino. Dog literally lays in the middle of the road. You're going to hear Carl talk about it. It's a danger to the dog and to people. Think we got a dog problem? Don didn't show up, but Don's dog did.
The rules on handling the dogs in the process of like a dog catcher, handler in the process has to go through training courses and certain things that the town really can't afford to do something with that part right now. But I do, and Teresa agrees, that we're gonna look into, there's a lot of properties in this town that's not paying their fair share of taxes. There's people on, I haven't had a chance to look at them all, but the county has been pointing out quite a bit of them that some people have on large tracts of property are paying less money on taxes than Don here is paying. And that's not fair to Don.
That's the county's problem, it's not ours, we have nothing to do with it.
We have anything to.
Here's what you're hearing being discussed now. Taxes to actually pay for a dog catcher. The county does not come in and take care of our animal problem. And because nobody enforces it, everybody lets these pit bulls run free. And Don obviously doesn't want anybody to come in and to enforce it because his dogs run free. I'm not sure how anybody thinks that's a positive thing or a healthy thing for animals. We are not going to pay, as Stuart Stewart wanted us to, for speed bumps so cats don't get hit. If it's your dog, if it's your cat, you must care for it. Florida law is very, very specific. 6 foot or less leash. Your dogs must be contained on your property. If they're on my property, I can do whatever I want to remove them from my property. Now, Don doesn't want that to happen. Zim's talking about, hey, there are people who aren't paying their fair share. Don, you're paying your fair share. There are other people that are using loopholes to not pay their fair share of taxes, and we could utilize some of that money to actually correct this problem. But Don doesn't want that. Don's the problem.
This is our town taxes come from that collection, and the percentage of taxes that you pay come to this town. And that balance it's out of balance.
It's the county appraiser that determines all of that.
So they're corrupt, you know?
I'm not saying they're, no.
I'm just saying.
Now, I can say, excuse me for just a minute. I can say back and forth in the emails that I've seen just briefly, because again, it's been a rough week. There has been some back and forth with them creating ordinances and trying to figure out stuff, because it seems that there's a circular motion between the county and the city and it getting kicked back and forth. But we do have a definite problem with the animals, and something does need to be done. So if we can generate more revenue, we can afford to do the things we need to do as far as that's concerned. I will be speaking with the county and Mr. Warm for suggestions as to what we can do moving forward, because something does need to be done about it. I don't feel safe walking through here. It happens to a lot of different people that they don't feel safe. I've had a lot of people talk to me about it, so we need to look more into it.
So you're saying that we should raise the property
No,
taxes?
that's not what we're saying. You'll let us, you'll let us.
Where does your mind go?
By making the people pay their fair share, doesn't make it. All right, we take the balance that you pay, take the balance that you pay.
Put a leash on your
That's a fair
dog.
price, isn't it?
And
Based on your stuff, that's a fair price. So then everybody's property should be assessed at the same level. And that's where they should be paying the same ratio. that
We're
you pay.
getting way off topic. I just want to say that we will be looking into all revenue growth and what we can do to put in the things we need to do, such as the dogs, cats, whatever animal, and the different things that should be done in this town. We need to look at different ways to raise revenue, whether it's through taxes or other things. We will be looking into all of those things because something needs to be done. And like I said, we will be talking to the county and to Mr. Warm to see what we can do going forward, and I'll keep you posted on statuses.
okay.
Does that answer your question?
I can't stress this enough. It's a shame that the town actually has to consider spending money on a dog catcher. How can people own animals and not utilize personal responsibility and care for them? You got Turtle Lady, that's not a sanctuary, that's purgatory for animals. You've got random pit bulls everywhere. We've had them on our property. They've killed our birds, our chickens. It's not a safe environment. Why? I mean, what goes through a person's head to go, oh, I'm going to get this pit bull, I'm going to let it run free, and I'm going to let it endanger itself and other people. You know how we resolve all this? Personal responsibility. It's your dog, your cat, your animal. You care for it well, and then the town doesn't have to pay for it. Why in the world would people put a town in a position to have to pay for it? And that's what the town is at. To keep the town safe, they're going to have to pay for it.
Huh?
I'm a licensed
It's
trapper,
legal.
Okay, well, keep
and
your
I
number if you
can
want to see
take
me
the
after the
animals
meeting.
to Levy County Shelter.
Okay.
Anyone
all right.
can, it's legal.
See me after the
Legal.
meeting and give me your
If
number.
I
Does
see
that
a feral
answer-
dog, I can
does
put
that
it in my
answer your
car and
question
bring
on
it to
that,
the-
Carl?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I will keep in communication and let you know where we're at, because that's also on the top of my list too.
Yes, ma'am. The only reason I ask is because I personally, driving down the road on my motorcycle, I've been attacked by,
Yes.
dogs running loose. My brother has. I've seen other people be attacked by them.
I've had the same problem on my golf cart.
So it just becomes something that becomes a nuisance that shouldn't be.
Yes, I
There
agree.
is a leash law, regardless of what your ordinances say.
Yeah,
There
the
is
problem
a
is
leash
nobody
law.
wants to enforce it.
Doesn't the county have a animal?
The county
You have an
does,
animal.
the county does, but it doesn't want to do anything about it. It kicks it back to us. It just goes in a big circle.
But I will tell you that in the meantime, it is perfectly legal for me to stop and pick a dog up who's sleeping in the middle of the road, because it's feral at that point, put it in my car and take it to the Humane Society.
Correct.
And you can do that with cats and dogs,
Correct.
and at some point,
Can't do it with cats.
you know what? At some point, you're gonna get sick of paying the fees to get your animal out, and you're
Cat is a free
gonna,
roaming animal.
you're gonna take care of it.
If you own an animal, it is your responsibility to keep it
Right.
under your
And if you
control.
wanna keep it.
So if somebody happens to pick it up when it's running loose and it gets taken to where, that's on you.
Maybe they weren't referring to Don. They might be actually talking about George and the animal she owns. George, you might want to keep your animal under control and stop letting him roam around Otter Creek without a leash. I'm an animal.
Yeah.
Can't touch them.
Those are the
Perfect,
facts.
that's perfectly legal.
Those are the facts. Was there something else, Carl?
No, ma'am, that's all.
Okay.
Can we check what we were spending all our money on before we raised taxes,
We will be going through a lot of things, and believe me, as we find out things, they will be revealed, because once again, we will be transparent, because everybody has the right to know what's going on, and like I said before, I expect the community to be part of this process.
Just raising taxes shouldn't be the first thing.
No, we'll be looking into plenty of different areas for revenue.
There's lots of ways of looking at that without raising the individual taxes.
Yeah, there's lots of things, and believe me, they'll all come in time. We have to prioritize things at this point.
With not much money, get their taxes raised right away.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're spending it on.
Before everybody gets worried about it, it's not happening tomorrow. Nothing's happening tomorrow. We've got a long road ahead of us.
Tim,
Keep in mind, they aren't even in the bank accounts yet. Not even in the bank accounts. Russell wouldn't sign over the bank accounts. It's a long, long road ahead, but these are the right people to travel it.
The process won't be to raise individual taxes. It's just to make the ones who aren't paying a fair amount. We want what you're paying, that everyone else will be on the same scale.
We just wanna make sure all the people watching.
Right. It's just not fair to you for someone to pay a tenth of what you're paying.
Thank you.
Okay, are we next? Okay, so apparently it's two different people, so let's start with this one. Charlie Watson.
Hey, just a quick question. I have two things. Have y'all taken the locks off the meters?
Not yet. I did mention that at the, under the water.
It's fireworks season, and y'all know all the fires that are going around in the country and Canada. I would only, if y'all don't want to do it like around like 19, where you may have people abusing it, like the big companies that come around and do stuff, I would just at least suggest to do it in the residential areas, like close to houses. And
I think they'll be coming off this week. I did meant to mention it in here, but it's not something that has to be part of the board. They just come off.
and safe.
There you have it. Zim's going to take all the locks off the fire hydrants this week. So that'll be a good thing for sure. Moments, seconds, they save lives.
I hear Richard talking about sometimes this job is hard because there's a lot of growth around the water meters, where, you know, risk management and stuff, that could, he pokes his eye because somebody's got limbs hanging over. I would suggest like maybe y'all go around and see what's overgrowth that may prohibit him from doing his job, you know, to make his job a lot easier. And I would like to donate brand new knee pads and a kneeling pad for him, so when he goes around and does like the water, he can like lay it down, save his knees, make it where he doesn't get his pants wet, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's super nice.
Thanks, very
Okay, and then, is that it? Next person? Charles Larry Watson Jr.
Here I am, back again. Guys, I thank you very much for y'all having me, even though I'm not a resident here. Mom grew up here, like I went over that. Mayor Teresa, I would like to say this. I have 6 sisters, and the way you were treated last time embarrassed me. It just embarrassed me bad. People could keep their mouth shut. You was elected, and people who elected you, that was an insult to all those people. And not only was it an insult to all those people, it was an insult to even the people that didn't vote for you. I just wanted to say thank you. Gosh, my mom grew up here. But anyway, I left everybody kind of hanging last time. We're talking about, I was worked the meat department in English, and there was a killing. The guy that was killed was a truck driver. Well, I'm going to pick up from there. I was talking to Mike Joyner, and I heard that he was embedded in that investigation. So I asked Mike, and he said, yeah, well, we hit it off pretty good. And like I said, I'm a silent person. I don't usually go out. This is the second time I've ever been to a meeting like this. But I gotta just voice my opinions, voice what I see. Like I say, when I grew up, it was hard for me. I'm dyslexic. But what we do, if you know a person that's dyslexic, we think different. We bring things out different. And I impressed Mike Joyner so much. He said, Larry, he said, I want to come by one day and pick you up and ride you around for 3 or 4 hours and pick your brain. Because I'm not going to get into discussion. Something was going on with the county. I talked to Mike about it. It didn't go the way it was supposed to. Mike said, I'm going to have one of the county employees come out and talk to you. Sure enough, I got a call. Mr. Watson, this is so-and-so. I'm going to come and explain to you about what happened. I said, look, don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. You lied to the county commissioners to get this passed. And it happened. Anyway, guys, like I say, I know a lot of wealthy people, like I told you. Maybe, one of the guys called me tonight. He can't make it back from St. Pete. He sits on the St. Pete Council. And he owns multi-homes. But it's kind of funny. I got a lot of people that's got, I showed Florida Rock. I showed Florida Rock, 1,600 acres. Man from down at Day City has got 3 acres on the south end of that. People would come look at it, and they wouldn't like, this old guy, this old geezer, he ain't gonna give up about 3 acres. We talked to him. Time after time it happened. And so real estate personnel called me and asked me, they said, do you know this old geezer? And I said, yeah, a friend of mine. And they said, well, would you ask him, call him and ask him, could I talk with him? Because it's holding up this $4 or $5 million sale. Sure. I called him. And I'm not going to mention his name. So it's LW. Hey, LW. I said, you know all the times you call me to run over your house, you've got 2 homes and go run over your houses and turn your lights on. And I don't mean to hold too much time because I probably won't come back. So I thank you for your time. I said, all the times that I've done that? He said, yeah, LW. I said, I got a young lady in real estate. Could she call you? Yeah, she can call me, but I'm going to tell you what, they keep pressing me and keep on. He said, I'll buy it myself. And I said, mentioned this, I said, look, can she? He said, yeah. It's sold. They worked out a deal. He can hunt all the property. He's in his 80s. But I look at things different than the average person. I'm going to show you one thing. And this is not 4 or 5 acre properties. These are 1,500 acre properties. These are neighbors. They're names of my keys. This is some of my neighbors. 400 acres, 200 acres. LW, would you watch our property? Sure. One more thing. I'm embarrassed to say, I got a nickname years ago. All these rich geezers gave me a nickname. Where's my son? Tell him a nickname.
He's the mayor of Gulf Hammock, at least on the west side. I think what my dad's trying to say is there's a lot of baby boomers that are been in the city. They are trying to find property, and they're looking, and they want to retire. They want this kind of way of life. They want to preserve this way of life. And what's going to happen if you keep getting the growth that's coming to Chief and Bronson and everything, you're not going to have it because they're going to start pushing you out.
But I'm going to just finish up. I'm sorry. I'd like to say it might be the last time I'll ever come here. I thank y'all for the time having us. There's some things going on that I can help y'all with some of the properties. You look at how you approach people about their property to build up Gulf Hammock. You understand what I'm saying? And build up here. You don't go say, oh, they say they won't sell. You don't just say, hey, will you sell? You got to say the reason. We're trying to spruce it up. There's other reasons. If you ask a person to clean their property, or you can clean their property up, let that person know that you're not liable if you're going to get hurt on that property. That's the biggest fear that people have. If you're going to spruce up the town, let them people know. Things will reverse a lot of things. I'm sorry for taking up so much time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank everybody for their time. Anything else? Anybody got?
That's it.
All right.
Is everybody satisfied out there?
Everyone good? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Warren, for doing the comment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Walker.
Best meeting in 5 years, best meeting.
Meeting's over, but remember, we still have a field trip into the water treatment centers. There's 2 of them, and we're going to hear from some of the locals what the water has done to their teeth.